Welcome to the Boomer Briefing Podcast, where we help you solve a critical business issue in 20 minutes or less. I'm your host, John Hubbard, shareholder and consultant here at Boomer Consulting. And with me today is Heather. Heather, thank you for being on the podcast today.
Thanks for having me, John.
Absolutely. Heather is our marketing manager, and she really spearheads the creation of all of our marketing. And Heather, I know you've put a ton of effort over the years into asking yourself the question, how do we dial in our marketing, our messaging, our content to really serve our clients well? And so that leads us to our topic on solving your clients' problems through your marketing. So Heather, just to kind of start the conversation here, explain how firms can utilize marketing strategies to actually help clients solve their problems.
Yeah, John, thanks. I love this topic because I absolutely love creating content for our clients. And I think one of the biggest things you can do is identify what your clients' pain points are, and then you want to provide them with targeted solutions for those pain points. I really feel that that's like the biggest secret to building highly successful marketing strategy, as well as boosting your conversion rates. Since there's so many different ways that you can provide solutions to your client, some of those ways are, finding ways to help them save money or answering their burning questions, providing them with step-by-step guides on tasks that they're looking to do, and helping them to ease their workload by providing them clarity on those things that they find a little bit more trivial. So by giving your audience the information that they need and when they need it, you can transform your firm into a more trustworthy and authoritarian figure in your field.
Yeah, no, that's great advice. And I think one problem a lot of firms have when it comes to their marketing is they spend a lot of time talking about themselves. They may spend a lot of time talking about how much experience they have or how knowledgeable they are or their areas of expertise. And really, clients and prospects don't care so much about that as it is, to your point, around solving their problems. If your marketing can solve your prospects and clients' problems, then to use the word you just used around trustworthy, it increases that trustworthiness there. And they think to themselves, wow, this firm really understands me and my business and the problems I'm dealing with. I'm going to be more interested in talking with them. So let's dive into that a little bit, Heather. How can firms actually do that? Any tips or strategies or tactics on how firms can actually do that?
Oh, I think the biggest one is it's your plan. It's building that targeted marketing strategy. If you take the time out from the beginning and build that strategy, you're going to have a foundation for you to plan and budget for service and growth in those departments. By creating that strategy, you're more likely to reach your potential clients, encourage even your existing clients to continue working with you and expand potentially the work that they're doing with your firm. Again, once you set up that strategy, then you can replicate that internal process that you've created every time you choose to reach a new audience, making your target market strategies more cost effective. So, a little bit of rinse and repeat, but you also can't be scared to edit those as they come. Sometimes we create strategies and we put ideas out there or put marketing campaigns out there and they don't quite work. And that's okay. Take that information that you learned from it, edit it, and create something new so that you can see maybe that message will hit the mark. So yeah, creating your strategy up front, and then again, not being scared to fail or not quite hit the mark on something, and move forward and try the next solution that might hit your target audience.
Yeah. So share with us a little bit, Heather, what are some key components of a marketing strategy? Because maybe some of our listeners aren't familiar with, like, okay, what are some What are some things that should be included in firms' marketing strategy so they can have a campaign or an outreach that is so dialed in that it actually does solve problems for their clients?
Yeah, I think to have a really good, solid marketing strategy, you have to think about what services that you're wanting to create a strategy for, and then kind of dial in a little bit more about, what kind of campaign are you going to use? Are you doing social media? Are you doing paid advertising? Are you using local options like newspaper or radio? There's a lot of different ways that you can get your messaging out there. So clarifying how you want to get the messaging out there and then dialing into those individual campaigns that you're wanting to do so that you have your resources in place when you decide to launch that strategy.
Where does identifying target clients fit into that strategy? I mean, we've worked with firms where some firms understand that you need to do that on the front end. Other firms seem to maybe not even think about it, and they want to appeal to everyone. Where in the in the creation of a marketing strategy does identifying target clients fit in?
I think it's me personally, I feel like that's one of the first things you do because you kind of touched on it before, John, is we're inherently, as consumers, we're a little bit selfish. We want somebody to solve our problems. So once you identify who that target market is, and then you zone in on what it is that their biggest problem is, that way you're able to build your campaign based on those problems. I feel like if you don't know who your target is, you're not going to be able to create the proper messaging for them from the get-go. So you're really going to be spinning your wheels. I think you'll probably have to test things more if you don't identify that from the beginning. So really, kind of micro segmenting who that target is going to help you create a very targeted campaign, a targeted strategy, so you can really reach those people from the beginning.
Yeah, I think that's wise advice, Heather. Just recently, I was working with a company based outside the U.S. that really wants to grow within the U.S. accounting industry market. And as we started to work with them, they kind of made the mistake we were just talking about, where they were wanting to, appeal to everyone within a firm, and they wanted a broad campaign that just appealed to everyone in larger firms within the US. And you and I both know that that's almost impossible to do. And through the process of identifying various targets, they were able to craft the messaging, craft a campaign, craft a strategy based on that specific audience. So when you think about the fact that we get so many emails a day, we see so many messages on social media, there's so many phone calls and outreaches and requests for meetings and all these things that we get, we are constantly scanning for people that are talking about us, for people that are saying something that are relevant specifically to us. And so I like your emphasis on identifying the target client, a key part of this strategy creation process on the front end. Have you seen firms that have done this well? And if so, what are maybe some of the results they've been able to receive by doing this?
Yeah, and John, we work with several firms that have kind of implemented plans like this and really have gone in and have targeted who they're looking, what client base they're looking to grow, what services they're looking to grow on. And it all goes back to growing. They're growing their current clients and they're gaining new clients. But the new clients they're gaining are the right clients for the firm. Instead of, just getting a bunch of smaller deals, they're able to kind of really get these targeted plans together for their clients and, gain bigger, bigger deals with them. It's not so much one-off work. They're able to grow that relationship and have the right clients for their firm. Uh, there's also some other residual results that firms can see. You're going to gain the trust of your clients because you know what it is that they're looking for and what help they need. You're going to gain metrics and data by that. And the big one is firms will stop spending money in the wrong places. The campaigns and the marketing that they're doing are bringing the right people to their firm. So they're working with the right clients now.
Yeah, you hit on a few good things there. Um, two of them that, excuse me, two of them that stand out to me is one around winning the right clients, right? You and I just recently spent a couple days with CMOs, marketing directors of larger firms, and the consensus in the room was, hey, growth is in our future and it doesn't seem that difficult to grow, but we have to make sure we grow smarter and not harder. And growing smarter is having more of the right clients and less of the non-fit clients. And I think what you're highlighting here around that marketing strategy and messaging and campaigns, the more targeted they are, the better chance you have of winning those right fit clients. And then the second thing you said that really stands out to me is spending money in the wrong places, right? If we follow your advice, we are going to spend more marketing dollars in the right ways and less in just kind of, hey, let's spread it thin and spread it all around and we'll see what works. And we know that approach typically has a very low ROI. So is this something that, because Heather, I know you say plugged into, other marketing leaders and marketing professionals, even outside of the accounting profession, is this something that they're talking about as well? Or is this something that you believe is just specific to the accounting profession?
No, John, I think this is all over. It's across the board, that people are in marketing departments are really starting to create those super targeted strategies. Um, it really helps you to focus in, and we see it be really, really beneficial to businesses to do those targeted strategies, as well as, to the clients. Because again, if you know that the person you're working with knows what your issues are and they know how to solve your problem, it just makes it so much more, it makes it easier to work with them because they're not having to search for answers, and it makes you feel like you are very important to them as well. So it's just, I don't know, I get so excited sometimes, sorry.
No,
um,
great.
yeah, it's super powerful to work with companies that know what your problems are.
Yeah. So yeah, I think this is a larger trend happening across marketing in general is, hey, let's no longer spread it thin. Let's be very targeted. Let's be very focused. Let's do the right work on the front end. So when we are sending out that marketing messaging, that it's actually relevant, right? We don't want to cast super wide nets anymore. We want to cast a lot of targeted smaller nets because those have larger conversion rates. And so, yeah, I think that's great. So Heather, as we finish up our conversation here for this episode, um, what's your recommendation for next steps? If someone could end this episode and do, one or two things to get moving in the right direction here, what advice do you have for them?
So I think the first thing that a firm would need to do is really identify what their growth goals are and create a plan that focuses on those goals. Because your marketing strategy is going to affect the way that your firm is ran. So it should be planned and developed with your whole team in mind, since it is wide reaching, and having that comprehensive planning tool is really important. So, you know, find your or get your plan in place, identify what your goals are by, describing your business, your products, your services that you're wanting to focus on, explaining the position that your roles and services have in the market, profile your clients, your competition, And then you can go into identifying the marketing tactics that you're going to use. And all of that's going to allow you to build that marketing plan and then give you the ability to measure those the effectiveness of it and find out where it's working and what tweaks you need to make to be more successful.
So really start with identifying those growth goals. And I think that's great advice. And we call that kind of putting a stake in the sand, where too often we're hesitant to put a stake in the sand in terms of, hey, this is the type of growth we want to experience over the year or 2 years or 3 years. And then once you have those growth goals identified and clearly defined, well, what marketing strategies need to be implemented in order to help drive that type of growth, which really ties back to what you said earlier, is it's helping us be informed on where we should invest in marketing and maybe where we shouldn't, right? Because it has to be in line with your growth goals. Heather, if someone wanted to reach out and just chat with you more about this, just to get your advice and thoughts and perspective as they build their campaigns, what are some of the best ways they can reach you?
Yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn. Of course, my name's Heather Robinson. And then also on Twitter, I am Heather at BCI. Or you can just reach out to me via email. As you can kind of see, I get a lot of passion as talking about marketing and growth objectives for companies. John and I have had the wonderful opportunity to work together on some of this stuff, and I get the great opportunity to see how things go in the industry with some of the groups I get to be a part of, and working with other, top CMOs and growth people in the industry. So yeah, I'd love to chat.
Awesome. All right, Heather. Well, as always, thank you for being on this episode of the podcast. And for our listeners, we release new episodes every Tuesday morning. Each week, we like to rotate topics. So while this episode was on growth, the next topic might be on leadership or technology or process or talent. But the common theme among all of those topics is that we believe they are critical to your firm's success and growth. So if you haven't already, please go ahead and subscribe and stay tuned for the next episode. Thanks so much. Thanks, Heather.